So how will we know if Georgia's offense is going to be successful in 2020? What can we tell? When can we tell? I'm going to let you know right now during this video. Dean Legge from Dog Post, making you a smarter Georgia fan. It's going to be game one. You're going to be able to tell right away whether this is working or not on the offensive side of the ball. Now, a couple things on that front, okay? Last year with Georgia against Vanderbilt, you could see basically the run game was there. But over a little bit of time against Vanderbilt, it looked like Georgia couldn't just score at will like they had the ability to in 2018 and 2017. So you could really sort of tell, even though it was a road game, it was a conference game, you could tell, hey, this isn't looking so hot. That's why I think when Georgia plays their first game, probably against Virginia in 2020, you're going to be able to tell. I mean, Virginia's a Power 5 school. They just played in the ACC championship game, just played in the Orange Bowl. They're not, they're not Alabama, but they're not Vanderbilt either. And I think if you score 30 points or more against Virginia, that's going to be, telling you, okay, we're doing the right thing. The other kind of question with all of this is, with so many different moving parts, coming from 18 into 19, the moving part was, well, you had a new offensive coordinator. From 19 to 20, not only do you have a new offensive coordinator, which was a justified move by Kirby, you also have a new quarterback. I mean, we know there's going to be a new quarterback at Georgia. It will almost, the likelihood is that it will be Jamie Newman, but it could also be any of the other guys. Obviously, JT Daniels enters into that mix too. Those two things should be upgrades. A lot of people love Jake Fromm for what he did for Georgia. He had a really bad 2019. I mean, the last half of the season was just not good. So the upgrade should happen both at the position of quarterback as well as the offensive coordinator, the person who's calling the plays. The inventiveness and the track record of Todd Monken, that's really what people should be paying attention to. This is a guy who scored a pile of points at Oklahoma State. So much so, Oklahoma State's not exactly been the same since. Go back and look at the scoring records, and then look what he did as a head coach, okay, in his second and third year when he was doing that. He is what I would call a very good college offensive coordinator. He's been working with young guys in the NFL like Baker Mayfield at the Browns. And he also had Nick Chubb, who doesn't hurt. If you have a new voice, if you have development of quarterbacks more than we have seen lately at Georgia, if you want to have a criticism of Kirby Smart's program at Georgia, I would say the number one criticism to me has been quarterback development. Okay, obviously Justin exploded at Ohio State, and there's a lot of different things that went on with that. He struggled at the end of his freshman year at Georgia. He was letting the time clock go out. He played great against UMass, but he didn't look good against Auburn when he needed to, right there when they were trying to score a touchdown at the end. So would he, that's a whole nother, the whole Justin thing's a whole nother thing. But then you look at Jake Fromm, how can you really say he was better at the end of his junior year than he was as a sophomore? You look at Justin. Justin leaves, goes to Ohio State. Totally different situation. Totally different offense. Different situation completely. He certainly played much better at Ohio State than he did at Georgia. Again, different situation. But just the Jake Fromm thing, was the development there? It doesn't seem like it was. Not the way that you'd like. He's still twirling the ball in his hand. That is not okay to do. But anyway, that's the old athlete in me coming out. You got to get rid of bad habits, and that was a bad habit. Are we going to see Jamie Newman progress? Are we going to see JT Daniels progress? If we see the younger quarterbacks, let's just say that Carson Beck gets into a game. When we see him in August or September, is he going to look the same if he gets into a game in November? I want to see progress at that position particularly. Because although I'm saying you will know, and I think you will know at the beginning, the first game, you should be able to tell. Although that is the case, are you seeing things move along the right way? It got to the point with this offense, with the exception of the Florida game, Georgia just They had a real hard time scoring easy points. And even against the Gators, they didn't get any easy points. They just scored 24. So you want cheap, easy points. You have playmakers on your offensive side of the ball, particularly now at receiver. That's another thing that's a big difference between and 20. That's going to have to matter for Georgia. We knew last year after the Vanderbilt game something was a little bit off. That was something we talked about in our riding home, what we were hearing. It wasn't the same. Something was off. The defense looked like they were all world game one, and they were. Georgia needs cheap, easy points. If you're going to be firing away against Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, those type of teams, it's okay to still play your ball game, but you need cheap, easy offensive points. I think that you're going to see more of that this fall, but we're going to be able to tell game one. If you don't see cheap, easy points, or you don't see 30 points or more, maybe you give it a little time because it's new offensive coordinator and new, a new quarterback, but you're going to need to see some explosion out of these Dogs quick. Okay, Dean Legge from Dog Post, making you a smarter Georgia fan. I want you to click up here, 2020 playlist, get you ready for a fall that's coming way quicker than it looked like about 4 weeks ago. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the playlist.